Hey, how y'all doing, man? This is Lamar Woods with What's Happening podcast. This has been a long journey since I, wanted to start this podcast. I've been talking about it for about, I want to say 2.5 to 3 years now. But the thing is, it's all about timing and making sure that it's the right time to do something so that way you can get the best out of it and that way you can pour into it. So a little bit about the podcast. The podcast came about to me always, just giving people advice about life and, how to structure businesses, how to understand, relationships. And even though I'm not a relationship guru and, I have my flaws too as well, just like any other human being. But the goal is this podcast is really connect with people and to, get a better understanding on how we can continue to overcome this life journey. So a few topics that we're going to talk about on here is, motivation. We're going to have a series of motivation clips. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to have, a series on relationships. We're going to talk about finances. Finances is very important in today's economy with inflation being at an all-time high. That's going to be a series. I'm going to bring in, I got a finance guru. I don't know if you want me to call him that, but I got a finance guru. I'm going to bring him in, to talk about ask some things. How do you prepare for this? How do you do that? The next thing we're going to talk about, managing stress. That is a big deal. We're going to talk about, mental health is a big topic amongst everybody right now in the 21st century. So, and then we're going to talk about the different changes and things. And then also, too, what everybody's doing now is entrepreneurship. But how can you be successful and what is the journey like of entrepreneurship? Those are things that we're going to talk about in this podcast. This podcast is not going to be centered around one just thing. We're gonna have different topics of discussion. I'm gonna bring people in. There's gonna be a lot of interviews, a lot of questions and things of that nature, and it's just gonna be authentic. As you can see, this backdrop, man, we're in beautiful Tampa Bay, man. What else can I say, man? We in Tampa Bay, beautiful backdrop. Got the water behind me. This podcast is gonna be authentic. We're gonna pick different locations. It's just gonna be something that you guys want to be a part of, and I want you guys to be a part of my journey. But today's segment, I feel like we should start off with motivation. Motivation is the key. This is the year 2023. 2022 has passed, and it's about overcome adversity. That's what the topic is going to be about today, adversity. Because when we're talking about adversity, you go through things in life. You may deal with death. You may deal with just different things in general where financially you're struggling, relationships you're struggling. But it's how can you overcome that adversity? The first thing I want to talk about is you can't give up. You can't give up. It's hard to go through some things in life and you give up just because, it ain't looking that good. But the more you go through things, you have different learning experiences. As they say, it's always, it's a lesson out of every situation, whether if it's a positive or negative. But most time when we're going through adversity, it's mostly negative. It may be in, like I said, like I talked about earlier, finances, relationships, and things of that nature. But how do you do that? The first thing I would say is, take a step back, analyze, figure out what's going on, and figure out if you did something wrong in the situation. And if you did, as humans, our goal is to pretty much, accept the fact for what it is, own up to your mistake and move on. But once you moved on from that mistake, the second thing I would tell you to do is don't look back. You always have to look forward. In your process of looking forward, you have an opportunity to, correct that mistake and don't let it happen again. If it keeps happening, then that means, you got to fix something. You got to really dig deep inside in yourself so that way you have an opportunity to not only do that, but you have an opportunity to say, hey, you know what? This is something I'm dealing with. Maybe it's going to therapy. Maybe, talking it out. And, a lot of people don't like therapy. They don't understand that therapy can help. It can help. It can help with a lot of things. It can help with child trauma. It can help with just different aspirations, bro. Because at the end of the day, man, it's about trying to be authentic and figuring out. Because as our past trauma, we can't fix that. We can only worry about what's going ahead, which is the future. So my goal is to really, look back and reflect on that. After the third thing you do, the third thing I would say when you're facing adversity, you come up with a game plan. Whether if it's in your relationship, whether if it's financially, once again, whether if it's just dealing with life. come up with a game plan. What does that mean, Lamar? That pretty much means coming up with a game plan that can either A, help you get to that next level in your life where you're trying to get to, B, break bad habits, or if it's just doing things that out of the ordinary that you normally do, you're trying to change. If you come up with a game plan, if you have a plan and you write it out and it's more visualized for you, that can help. Having a visual plan can help with your success to get you out of that adversity that you're dealing with, to overcome the obstacles. You know, every time we get in life, we deal with obstacles. So the goal is to get out of that. You know, you want to, like I said, you want to break bad habits, and I'm gonna keep repeating that. You want to break bad habits, because if you break bad habits, man, things will become more clear to you. You'll be able to think better. You'll be able to write better. You'll be able to do a lot of things better, as long as you break those bad habits. I have bad habits myself. Some habits I'm trying to break. And then I would say the fourth thing you can do is really, if you have an issue with somebody and it's dealing with that person, man, you gotta go talk to that person. Bring the problem to the table, so that way you'll be able to hash out the issues. You're able to talk amongst yourselves to fix the problem. If it comes to ending a relationship with a person, or even a family member, you have to do that, because that's only gonna set you apart from, you know, get rid of the things in your life, so that way you overcome that adversity. Sometimes it's not the situation that we in, it's the people that surround us. And once we look at our surroundings, man, we have an opportunity to not only fix it, but we have an opportunity to deal with it, have a conversation with that person, close that chapter in your life, and move on to with the rest of your life. That's number 4. Because when you look at what's around you, sometimes that can be a toxic environment, as people like to use the word toxic. Toxic is a very popular word, but I don't even like that word. But I'm gonna just use it for my first introduction of my podcast, since toxic is the word that everybody likes. And I feel like if you fix your relationship that's around you, you can have a better overcome over views of life, how things are going for you. You know, your bad habits, you know, become less habits because you don't have the people that surround you. Because if somebody's smoking all the time and you want to quit smoking, it's very tempting to keep smoking. If you want to get up and go to the gym, sometimes you can't have a partner. You got to get up and go by yourself, because that person may drag you down. That's carrying dead weight, as they say. So the goal is to break bad habits. It's okay to do things by yourself. You don't have to be with people all the time, man. So, and then the 5th thing I would say is to really, you know, I'm a believer, and I put my faith and trust in God, but whatever you guys do, if that's journaling, write down things to get things clear out of your mind, man, those are things that you can do to better your mental health. I'm not an expert on mental health. I'm gonna try to get somebody on this podcast to just talk about mental health and talk about the different things you can do when you're dealing with mental health, because mental health is a big thing, man. Mental health is a very big thing. But I would continue to, what I do is I can share tips on what I do. What I do is I pray. I ask God to seek me through a situation when I'm dealing with it. I ask God to put me in the right place at the right time. Because 2020, between 20 and 2022 wasn't the best years for me, but I learned how to overcome that adversity by facing the challenges head on. And once God put me in those challenges, I pressed through. You can't just give in because everything's just bad. You can't just give in because life is hitting you hard. You got to keep pressing through the adversity. So what I did was I prayed. I asked God to seek me through everything I was dealing with, whether it was negative, positive, mediocre, whatever you want to call it. I asked God to seek me through. And once God put me in that situation, I kept persevering forward. And that's what life is all about, man. It's about persevering forward, seeing if you can find your niche or whatever you're dealing with, and keep pushing. Yes, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna have tough times. You're gonna cry sometimes. But it's about going forward. So those are things that I do. I'm gonna just share a story with you to try to capitalize on, you know, all the things that I just talked about, the 5 things. So between 2017, I went to Weber International University. I started my master's program, and while going into that program, I was dealing with a lot of adversity. You know, I just had started a detailing business. I was dealing with school. I was working full time. I was doing a lot of these things, man, a lot of these things all at once. And when you're doing these things all at once, it can become overwhelming. It can become time consuming. It's just a lot. So I was in class and I was taking the class, End up going through like almost 8 classes. I had 7 more classes to graduate. Pretty much what had ended up happening was I ended up getting kicked out of the program at Weber. To make the long story short, I was driving an hour from Tampa to Polk County, which is in the middle of nowhere, Lake West, Florida. So I was driving there for an hour every day, man. Every day, well, not every day, every Tuesday, every Wednesday. I can't remember. I think it was every Tuesday. I can't remember. I don't know. And then, so I got kicked out, and then I end up, my girlfriend at the time, I believe she was my girlfriend at the time. If she watched this video, she's probably gonna beat me up. My fiance at the time was pregnant. So I was driving an hour, you know, going there, going back every day once again, and then I ended up getting kicked out of the program. So I prayed about it. I asked God, I was like, God, what you want me to do? You know, what would you want me to do? So I sat out of school for about another year, kind of got, you know, jobs, was trying to find jobs and trying to figure out my way throughout life. I think we all go that phase where we're just trying to figure everything out. You know, we're just trying to go through life and just trying to figure things out. So what I ended up doing was finding a job, ended up applying and going back to school. And when my credits transferred over, it was 2 credits that transferred over from 2 classes. That was it. So I had to restart from ground 1. Listen, y'all, ground 1. I ain't saying I had 6 more classes to finish, ground 1. So it took me another 2 years to finish the degree I could have finished in almost a year and a half if I would have stayed at the school I was continue at. So I had to start over, completely over. So when I hit rock bottom like that and I was doing the business, I was doing all these things and my child was about to get ready to be born. And so the thing is, what I had to think about is, what do I want my life to look like long term? And I'm not saying school is for everybody. School is not for everybody. Only reason I went to school because there's a lot of reasons. I ain't gonna get into that. We'll talk about that another time. But the reason I really went to school is because I like learning. I like the process of learning. Can I do that through Google? Yes. Can I do that through taking classes and doing other things and certifications? Yes. But the way I like to learn is going to school, being around others that have the same positive mindset and those are doing that. But I had to start over. When I started over, I had to start from ground zero pretty much. And it took me 2.5 years to finish. So I ended up going to St. Leo University. Shout out to St. Leo. Go, I think they're Tigers. Lions. Lions, my bad. So the thing is that when I went through that process of starting over again, I had to think about what was the long-term objectives. It was a short-term goal, but it was a short-term goal in 2 years. Even while I was doing it, I was still running a mobile detailing business. I just recently got married, and then I had a newborn. So I'm doing all those things at once. Was it easy? No. Do I make it look like it's easy? Yes, I kind of do. Some people just like, you just make it look easy, Lamar, but it's really not, man. It's about creating that time and value for the things that you want to value in life later on ahead, if that makes sense. So the goal is, what I'm trying to tell you is that if you have goals and aspirations and you're facing adversity, keep persevering through, because at the end of the day, you will get to the end. But if you give up, you will never see what God got in front of you. So, and I think that really, what it really came down to is me, you know, looking ahead and looking forward and look where this can get me to. So what I did was I went through school. I took 6 months off of my detailing business. I sold everything. And then another 6 months that went by, I got back in the repetition of school while doing my detailing, law mobile detail. You know, that's my detail. So if you need your car detail, come hit me up. But anyway, the goal, what I'm trying to say is, while I was going through all that, I ended up selling all my equipment, and then I focused on school, and I just worked, took care of home, and took care of my family at the time. And then going through that, I wanted to get back into detailing, so I started detailing at my mom's house. I mean, I'm sharing up my lowest points with you guys. Ended up losing my job, so I ended up detailing at my mom's house. So I went back to detailing inside the yard for like $25 a car. Then after when I did that, I ended up recently getting a van, went back, got a van, restarted my detailing business over, like from scratch, new van, not pressure washer, but pretty much new van, new situation. My last van had really just broke down. So while I'm doing that, I'm still building my business back up, trying to get back in the swing of things. And then on top of that too, while having a newborn, and once again, having a wife, you have to make time for those things. But the point is, I'm trying to make is that you have to understand that when I'm doing all those things, I never gave in. I kept persevering. Did I want to give up? The answer is yes, I did. I want to throw in the towel. I had countless conversations with my wife about just selling everything and throwing everything away and just focusing on school and just working. But I kept progressing and I kept going because I know if I give up, I don't know the outcome. And I always want to know the outcome when I give it my full effort. And I continue to go through school. As school went on, I continued to get more clients and get more clients with my detailing. Sometimes I had to devote time to my business and working full time and doing school. So I would find myself doing schoolwork at work. But the thing is, you can do it, you just gotta make the time for it. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that you have to understand and value your time, because time we can't get back. Today I can't get back, but I can control my efforts in the time that I get, whether if it's the people I'm around, whether it's the, whether what career-wise I want to go wise. If I want to devote time, you have to make time for things that are important. Time is very accessible, time is free, but you can't get back, and you can't get back today, and you can't get back last year. You know, you can't get back last month, but you can continue to move forward and work towards where you want to go at. So I kept doing those things. While I was doing that, I made it to the finish line. I graduated. My daughter just had turned 2. I'm 2 years freshly, married and all those things. So, but I overcame that adversity. I got my master's in human service administration, if I'm saying that right. Don't know off the top of my head right now. Just kind of freestyling with this video. And then the thing is, I'm trying to get you guys to understand that it's all about persevering. And while doing that, I had a business and I still had other things going on. If you value your time, I'm gonna say this again, if you value your time, you will value life. And when you value life, you value time. That makes sense. That makes sense. So put effort in things that are important to you and stop. I ain't saying there ain't nothing wrong with celebrating. You wanna celebrate your small victories. Celebrate when you're doing good, and also celebrate when you're doing bad, because it's gonna make you appreciate the good times, even when you get there. So if you had $100 in your pocket last week, and then the following you have 1,000, celebrate that. But when you get back down to 100, know how to get back to that 1,000 too at the same time. So it's all about overcoming these adversities, man. And so if I had to share with you guys, I just shared my journey, and I know I'm talking in circles. This is my first podcast. I'm new to this, so you guys gotta work with me. Don't be in there commenting on my videos saying, hey man, you should have did this, you should have did that. This is all new to me, man. I don't like even sitting in front of a camera. But I'm overcoming this. It took me 3 years to get in this podcast, and I overcame adversity. Now I have a story to share with you guys. I have a lot of, I ain't gonna say content, I have a lot of knowledge of background I wanna share with the world, man. Even if I reach 1 or 2 people, man, I feel like I did my job and I did everything necessary that I can do to share my story with somebody. Because I wanna leave a legacy behind for my family. I wanna leave something for my daughter. I wanna leave something for my wife, and I wanna leave something for my family to have, so that way they can continue to progress on, even when I'm dead and gone, man. So my adversity, I have overcame, and it's a lot more, but that's just a story in one. I have one of many stories I can sit down and I can talk all day. But the goal is with this podcast is for me to share information, share knowledge, and hopefully to inspire somebody else. My motto every day, if I can make one person smile, I did my job. And so if I can put a smile on faces through my humor, through personalities, through feeding these different knowledges with my business and with other entrepreneurs and finances and relationships, the goal is to share all this wealth of knowledge that I have in this big head of mine and to get it out to the world, even if it's only 1 or 2 people. Like I said, the goal is to really focus on building people that's around me. And even this guy behind the film, I reached out to him. We went to high school together, man, and he agreed to doing it. Yeah, shot by _BG. So if you guys need some content work, y'all need somebody to shoot your music videos. He does a great job, man, and his work is quality. Follow him on IG. Follow my podcast, What's Happening. But the point is, I'm trying to make it in this video, man. I want you guys to really sit down and dig deep in 2023 and understand, even when adversity comes, at the end of the tunnel, there's light. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't live by that saying no more. Because when you look at it, yes, there's light at the end of the tunnel, but there's still gonna be darkness along once you get to that light. The journey's not over yet. You have to continue to persevere and go through that adversity. Because even though you get to that light in the tunnel, it's still gonna be darkness on the other side. But it's how when you get to that darkness, it's how you respond to it. Don't shut down, keep going. Because 2023 may not be your year. 24 may not be your year. 25 may not be your year. But if you keep going, if you take every day, every week, every month and every year, and you all attack them the same, you attack it the same, and it's not working, switch up your routine, because something that you're doing inside of your routine or what you're doing is not working. So you got to go back to the drawing board. Adversity, figure out what you've been doing before. If it's working out, getting up early, get up early. I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm struggling with that right now. I have a problem with doing that, because working out at 5 a.m., I did that playing college football, but doing it as an adult while you have a kid and in school, I'm back in school, while you're doing all those things and working full time is hard, and running the business. So you have to understand that you got to switch up your routine. What's not working may not get you to where you want to be at. So you have to go back to the drawing board and figure out how can you overcome that adversity that you're dealing with. So if you take that day, if you take the week, if you take the month, if you take the year and get to those and utilize each day to capitalize on it and be positive and be optimistic, you'll get to where you want to go at, man. But this video will go up on Instagram, YouTube, and then, I don't know, I'm thinking about audio, but I'm not 100% sure. But the thing is, I'm gonna get the Instagram for y'all, and I'm gonna utilize my phone, so don't, like Chris Brown say, please don't judge me. You know what I'm saying? Don't judge me. But if I can get the podcast Instagram name up, it's what's _happening _podcast. That's what it is. That's what's going on right here. So if you want to follow me, if you don't want to follow me, if you hating on me, I still want you to follow me, because maybe I can inspire some haters to be a part of this this podcast and this journey. Maybe I can inspire you to do great things in life, man. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to around here capture people, and I'm trying to do great things. I'm not the best. God's still working on me, and God is still working on me, man, because I'm not perfect. But I want to share my journey with you guys, man. I want you guys to be a part of that journey. And remember, value time and value life. If you value life, you should value time. Don't waste your life, man. Life is, you only get one shot at this thing, man. Value your time and understand that time you can't get back, man. Time is free, but you can't get it back. Always remember that. Time doesn't cost, but it does cost you if you're not using your time right. Hey, y'all have a great day, man. This is Lamar Woods with What's Happening Podcast. And if I can encourage you, follow me on Instagram. We gon' get y'all going, man. And thank you guys for your time. Salute.